All right, first of all, I just want to thank all you subscribers and people that like our videos. Continue. It helps our channel a lot. Now it's obviously time for an update on that 61 Corvette. It's taken some paint since we've seen it last. All right, JB, not to kind of get off to a tough start here, but I'm going to ask you a really hard question. And that is, what are you standing in front of?
Well, now there's some controversy about that because in our calling around the country to get consensus, what is this thing I have in front of me? Now, technically what it does on a Corvette is it covers the opening into which the convertible top folds.
Right.
All right. Now, there are a number of names that we encountered. Deck lid, which of course is wrong because the deck lid in most all cars is the trunk cover. It's called deck lid in general. Other people call it a body cover. I'm not sure about that one. Convertible deck lid, that's fairly descriptive, so that works.
Okay.
Convertible top deck lid. So if you really love to jam a lot of words into a simple idea, there you go. Probably could say black convertible top deck lid cover. Anyway, in simple terms, it really is a convertible top cover.
Okay.
That's what it is descriptively. Heaven only knows what Chevrolet called it. We didn't bother to ask about that. It's the only one that really matters. So we figured, why mess it up with the actual case?
Okay.
Also, we got a rear deck lid cover. Some of the vendors that sell this we talked to, Eckler's, and we talked to some other vendors. So if there's some confusion on that, just be really careful that if you're going to order one of these from an aftermarket company or you're going to buy a used one, that you tell them where it goes, not literally, but tell them what part it covers.
Yeah.
So I don't remember any part having so many names, but it also is one of the very first things that we paint when it's ready, and then we always shoot the underneath side because, of course, we're going to have to flip it over, and the show side, if you will, is always the top. So we're not going to be nearly as concerned if we paint the underneath side and we set it on even foam, as you see here, to keep it from being abraded. But certainly we wouldn't want to do it the other way because the outside of the car is obviously more important than the underneath side of the deck lid and the convertible top lid and the hood.
Well, for this not to be the kind of show part of it, man, it is beautiful though.
Yeah, I mean, Oscar doesn't understand pulling up short anywhere, and I'm afraid to teach him how that works. So we really just let him go. And he's a very prideful guy, and he's an incredible craftsman.
Yeah.
And I think the worst thing you can do with certain people is oversteer them.
Yeah.
The trick is to find people that already know what to do and leave them alone.
Yeah.
But as most people cannot understand that concept, they want to over manage everything. Maybe they've been watching too many television shows. With people running around creating controversy over nothing.
Right.
So, yeah, it's very important if you're going to have a guy that's going to do it, give him the entire job and give him the power and the freedom that he needs to do it the way he wants to do it. Because, because he's the guy that's responsible for the result.
Right.
And so here we have that these are beautifully done inside and out.
This is the hood, I believe, right?
No, this is the deck lid. See why it gets to be more fun all the time.
Okay.
Okay.
But wait a second, I'm going to just challenge you on that because
you got me.
I feel like this is the trunk.
I wanted to see if you were paying attention. Okay. We got three covers that really don't make any sense, except that they all look alike. In a Corvette, of course, you got this round top. Now here's the part that covers the top mechanism, the folding top here.
Right.
And you got the deck lid, which is conventionally known as a deck lid.
Or a trunk lid, I guess.
Or a trunk lid.
Yep.
Take your pick.
Yep.
And this, of course, is the hood. So we looked earlier. We looked at the hood, and we looked at the convertible cover, and over here is the deck lid or the trunk cover.
Okay. Now we've wandered into the point of, hey, this Corvette is really coming along.
Yeah. It's really frustrating when you get just before you paint it, because I see all these hours and all the time and expense, but you don't really see anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
And the result is directly dependent on how much time you spend in prep.
Yeah.
Prep is more than 90%. Shooting, this whole car was shot in one day.
Right.
And it's got months of work in it.
Right.
So that tells you the ratio. That doesn't mean that the shooting isn't important and that the atmosphere is important. This whole room was sealed, cleared of dust, any kind of thing that could fly up and get it. And then we turn on the exhaust fans at the other side of the room and draw the fumes out of the room so that the guy shooting it is not overcome. He has a mask, he has respirator, but just to keep your vision, you have to have really good light, and we use nothing but fluorescent because fluorescent is absolutely, you cannot hide from fluorescent.
It's merciless, isn't it?
It's merciless, and if that white line that it projects has got a wiggle in it, you got a problem.
Right.
And the guys that use anything but fluorescent, I think, really ask for a lot of trouble.
Now, how many coats of paint did this thing get?
This got 3 coats, and this is a solid color. It's got a lot of clear in it. It's a polyurethane base paint. And we had some kind of a controversy about what kind of paint to use.
Okay.
And we had a conversation with the owner. The owner indicated he wanted the best quality paint that you could get. And so I did some research, went to a couple of different outlets and got what I consider to be what their benefits were and what their pricing was. And I was astonished at the difference.
Yeah.
The polyurethane of this particular company that we did not use was pushing $2,000.
Wow.
The one we did use was $500. Now, why the stark difference? Is it quality? I mean, is this a lesser paint? And the answer is, no, of course it's not. If you understand the origin of black paint pigment, you know that it comes, most of it comes from lamp black, which is very inexpensive, and there's no way in the world that a paint maker or paint seller could justify charging a couple $1,000s for 2 gallons of paint.
Right.
That's just ridiculous. So we've been painting with this particular paint for many years, never had a problem with it.
Obviously does a great job.
Goes down, lays down. A lot of it is just the people you buy it from, getting you the right reducers, getting you the right catalysts, and the things you need to do a proper job. And also, of course, the painter needs to be extremely knowledgeable. Now, it's summer in Arizona, so we can't use normal reducers. A normal reducer would be way too fast. He wouldn't have a chance to paint all the way around the car if he used a fast reducer. So we use an ultra slow reducer in order to give him an opportunity to go around and make his several passes around the car.
To put it in layman's terms, it's because the paint would set up and dry too quickly.
It's exactly right. You got to remember, you got a lot of area here.
Yeah.
Especially on the body, because the body is contiguous.
You're right.
I can't start and stop on this. I have to keep going and keep going and keep going.
Right.
I mean, it's a dance around the car. And we put down the first coat, and then we come back. We've got to keep that wet. You can't have it dry on you because it'll create little goblets that will actually affect the surface. And now the subsequent coats have to melt that in order to get it clear. That's how you go from a lumpy, bumpy finish to something like this.
Right.
Right after you paint it.
This is like glass.
It's just amazing.
It's unbelievable.
It really is.
So now I know this is the paint on, but there's still a few steps left to go.
Right. We'll have some very small amount of color sanding.
Okay.
Very fine grits of paper. The secret, here's another secret. If you're stopping with 600 or 800, you're really not getting rid of the scratches. You're just making smaller scratches.
Okay.
What people don't realize is you can go up to 2 and 3 and 4,000 grit. Now, yeah, it doesn't do a lot of sanding, but when it's done, there are no highs or have all been drawn down to the lows.
Right.
So you're looking at a contiguous surface.
Right.
Now, a lot of people, when they paint a car, are not going to go to those extremes. But when you're dealing with a good car with a really good paint job, and especially a dark color like black, where all of your problems, if you leave them, are going to be evident, then you really have no choice.
Right.
You really have to, first of all, put down the color with a very slow reducer so it has a chance to spread out and lay out. Secondly, you got to use very, very fine sandpapers at the end of this color sanding process.
Right.
And then the buffer has to have at least 3 different sizes of grit in order to accomplish a really good paint job.
All right.
So you start out with regular, then you have fine, and you have ultra fine.
Okay.
And they're not inexpensive. If you're going to spend money, that's where you spend the money, because those final sanding materials and sanding buffing chemicals are what really make it stand up.
Okay. Yeah. So when I get real close, you can see little bits of lumpiness. It's just the thickness of the paint, I think.
Well, exactly.
And so that's going to go
Those
away.
can be as little as 1/1000th of an inch.
So as you sand this down, it just becomes
Right.
even more glassy than
Right.
it
Now you're going
already
to start
is.
out with probably something on the neighborhood of 600. Now, if a car's really bad, and I've seen some really bad ones,
Yeah.
you may have to go clear back to 320.
Yeah.
A very coarse sand, because you got to knock all those bumps off.
Right.
This car has hardly anything to knock off. So we don't want to start with an aggressive sandpaper. We want to start in the middle, or to the top, or the upper top of the middle, because we don't have anything to take off.
Yeah, you can leave more paint on the car.
Exactly, and you don't take up the time, and you don't spend the money.
Right. Excellent.
Okay.
Well, this is coming along beautifully.
Yeah, it really is.
It's good to give everybody an update.
It's a great color for this car. It really is. I
Yeah,
haven't seen very many black ones.
Yeah.
They're usually red or silver or white.
Yeah.
But boy, this car sure looks wicked in black.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Yeah, and then you start
gonna
putting
be
the chrome on, and it's really going to stand up and shine.
Yeah. So
remember, this is the car that had this whole front end whacked off.
Oh, that's right.
And now try to see where that happened.
Right. You look at it now, it's like, where did that happen?
Well, it didn't. It was
completely
funky when we first
that
got
repair.
it,
People might want to. Maybe I can put a link to that first video.
Yeah.
In the description here, so people can see where we started.
And this whole car's been mocked up. All the chrome's already been on the car, all the headlight bezels, and all of the things that are going to be ultimately put on it. Because until you do that, you don't know if anything fits. You don't know if you need some filling between for instance, between the fiberglass and the chrome, and that's all got to happen way before we get to the paint stage.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, we got to back up and do it over. So you got to fit up the car. Put the whole car together, look at it, study it, make the adjustments, and then pull it back apart. Then you get this kind of result.
Then you know.
And then the chrome goes right on and you're done.
It's going to be beautiful.
It saves a huge amount of time and money.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for the update, JB.
You
This
bet.
is really good.